As Jack Welch said, before you become a leader, success is about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is about growing others. Hi, I'm Rajat Soni, a teen life and parenting coach. I coach teenagers on imbibing leadership skills. And one of the key skills is creating a positive impact on people they interact with in a day-to-day life. And also when they have to speak in front of a large audience. Today I have with me a qualified communication expert and keynote speaker, Catherine Molloy. Catherine is a qualified communication expert and keynote speaker who specializes in areas of communication, body language, and self-leadership for personal growth. Catherine utilizes her 25 years of education and training to empower, inspire, and motivate individuals and teams through effective learning techniques. Catherine provides an insight into the hidden side of communication and conscious leadership through mastering and understanding body language. She has developed simple and effective strategies that, when implemented, can immediately produce measurable and lasting results. She was a past winner in the Australian Institute of Management Award and has recently been awarded the prestigious International Stevie Awards for Leadership and Sales Training. So without further ado, please welcome Catherine Molloy. Hey, Catherine!
A big hello to everybody. I love going to India, and I've worked with a lot of students in India as well at some of the international colleges. In Kochi, I've been to Coimbatore. So, and apart from that, of course, I've worked with business people in Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Hyderabad. So I've been there many times, usually at least around 3 times a year. So I'm very sad not to be there this year. I had a big trip planned for the start of March, but we were unable to go, of course, since due to COVID-19.
Wow, it's so awesome. And I think we met in October last year, and it's so amazing to meet you now. And I welcome you with a big round of applause. Yay! All right. So I'd like to ask you first, as you know, I actively coach teenagers in creating a roadmap for their future, for them to begin walking on it with confidence. Please put some light on how body language can help teenagers project that confidence.
Yeah, great that you are asking that, because body language is so important. So for all the teenagers out there, just remember we were teenagers once too, but we have now worked out some tools and skills that can help us get out of trouble, so that people don't realize that maybe we're not telling the truth. No, just kidding. The most important thing with body language is to create win-wins in your life. So for instance, if I've been traveling or I've been working really hard and my shoulders go down and my head goes down, I tell myself I'm really tired, I can't do this, then whatever we say, of course we're right. But what we think isn't always right. And we can change the way we're feeling in a nanosecond.
In a nanosecond?
In a nanosecond. These skills can be used for everyone at any age. So if I wanted to all of a sudden feel really good, I'd put my shoulders back, my chin up, my head up, I'd put a smile on my face, and next minute I'm feeling pretty good. You know, when you see someone win a race, or, you know, as a teenager, if we feel great about something, we put our hands up, we go, yay! And we even look up. So when you look up and you put your hands up, it's really hard to be sad.
Yeah, so
okay?
true.
It's pretty impossible. So, you know, there's little things that we can do that can make us feel good, even in those times when we're not feeling good. And we feel that we have a right not to feel good. We can change that. We can choose again. Everything in life really is a choice and a decision. Sometimes they're taken away from us and we feel like we don't have choices, but we still do. We still have choices on how we're going to react and how we're going to behave at this time. And no one can take that away from us.
So true. And that's what I know often encounter, as we've heard also, to change your emotion, just change your motion. And when you put your hands all up, there is no other way but to feel amazing and to feel awesome.
And
Yeah,
correct.
beautiful.
You can't feel bad going, yay!
You can't,
Very
just you
hard.
can't. True, true, true. Thank you, Catherine. That's such an amazing answer. A crucial part of projecting confidence, as you've mentioned a bit about it right now, is also feeling it from within.
Yeah.
So, what would be your thoughts on the same?
Well, I'm going to show you a couple little slides and talk about body language a little bit because, you know, is it the chicken or the egg that comes first? Is it the strong mindset or is it the body language? Do we think our thought and then our body reacts to it? So, in 1/25th of a second, before we even speak, we generally react. And then someone else sees our reaction. And the next minute, they make up a story. And then next minute, we don't get on with each other for whatever reason. Okay. So, what I want to do is show you something for a moment.
Sure.
So, I don't know if, teenagers, sometimes you love getting in cars with your parents, sometimes you don't. Um, but a lot of the times you'll jump in there, you might turn the music up loud, start to have a chat or a sing. And it's a great time because you're not having to have that eye contact with the person. And it's a good time for a chat as well. But my husband picks me up from the airport a lot. We quite often travel in cars, and I speak at a lot of events. Now, of course, it's on webinar, which means I get to stay home. Lucky family, right?
Yeah.
But but when we're in the car, I want to quickly show you how fast these reactions happen. And this will be happening to you. There's always someone in your life that will annoy you and then make you react in a way that perhaps you shouldn't react.
Right.
But anyway, I'm sitting in the car this day, and instead of having the music loud and singing, I had to get some emails done. So my husband's driving the car, and I'm sitting here on my phone. And then next minute, out of my peripheral vision, I see my husband turning. So, we've all got peripheral vision. You can see things that are happening out here, right? So
Right.
I lean back because there's a lane beside me. So he can look across me to be able to change lanes. So I lean back and I'm still working. But next minute, there's this hot heat down my arm. And I look at my husband and I go, "What's wrong?" And this is what he says. He's driving the car and he looks at me and goes, "You don't need to tense up when I'm driving. There's nothing wrong with my driving." And I'm sitting there and I've just been yelled at. And I didn't even know why. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's ever happened to you where you've been yelled at and you don't know why. And so I look at him and I said, "I just leaned back so you could look across and change lanes." And this is what he
Um,
said. "You know, I didn't know that that's what you were doing. Sorry." And that was it. Now, I have the right to be angry, don't I? And just imagine if I was 19, I just got yelled at for moving back for no reason. I had a right to be angry. But what I realized was this was my fault because I leaned back because I made a story up for him when he turned his head that he needed to change lanes. Now, maybe he was going to ask me a question. Maybe he was going to turn the radio on. Maybe he was going to turn the air conditioner up. But I made a story up for him. And even though my intent was good to lean back so he could see, he made a story up for me saying I stiffened up. Now, maybe I've tensed up before when he's gone up a gutter or something, okay? But this time I didn't. And so he made up a story that that was what I was doing. And he knew he was in the right because his driving was fine at the moment. So he made a story up for me. I made a story up for him. And this is why body language is so, so,
so,
so important because we react in 1/25th of a second before we speak. So someone sees our reaction before we speak. Had I said, if I reacted and then said, "Oh, do you want me to move back so you can change lanes?" He would have said, "No, no, no, I just want to ask you this, or I'm going to put the radio on. Is that okay?" But I took that away because I made up a story for the reason he was turning his head. Now, this happens continually over and over and over and over again. And that's why worldwide, nearly half of all marriages break up. And 98% of those are listed as communication difficulties. So just imagine as a teenager with all the hormones and all the thoughts and ideas and all these things coming into our head, and parents are making decisions and we feel taking choices away from us, and then friends are doing the same, and we're stuck in our head with all these thoughts and they're coming out in reactions. So what we need to do is to actually think positively. We need to start to think, if a negative thought comes in, just let it go and then think of something positive that could take its place. And we can then change our body language as well to help with feeling more positive. And when something happens, start to understand, well, what did my body language have a part in this? Did someone, maybe when someone said something, I was thinking of something else and pulled a face. And the next minute they're angry at me because they see the face I pulled, but it wasn't about them. So we need to gently start to use our words and just say, oh, I'm so sorry, I was thinking of this at the time. Could you repeat that for me, or whatever it is? But the thing is, we don't. We love to have this reaction, make up a story, then everything keeps escalating and we don't really get anywhere with it.
True.
So our body language is almost the beginning of our communication experience, and body language is in every communication experience you'll ever have, whether it's on the phone, whether you're speaking on the phone, or whether you've just picked up your phone and you're messaging. Body language is happening and you are
Yeah.
reacting to what you see and hear, and then other people get to see that too. So I know this almost sounds a little crazy, but this is the best place to start. We need to start by being more conscious of our reactions, because it can start to change the conversations we have with people. But guess what? It can make us feel better too. And let me have a look and see if I can share with you something here on my screen. So, positive body language exudes confidence and attracts people to you. So, if you want to have better relationships, start to think about, what does your body language say? If I duck my eyes and pull my shoulders forward, then I'm telling people I'm not feeling confident. Please don't talk to me. And then I hear some teenagers saying, "Oh, well, they won't speak to me."
Yeah.
But we've created this scenario as well. So it means what we create, we can break.
True.
But it does come with practice. And I think that's hard, don't you?
Yes, I do. It's about consistency.
That's the hard part. But I also know other things that are important, because our bodies can change our minds. Our body, the position of our body can change our thoughts. Now, our thoughts can drop back to negative, which means when our thoughts are negative, our body language will be low. So we have to go back to changing our body language again to get our thoughts in the right place. So our bodies can change our minds, but our mind can change our behavior. Now, this is one of the most important things and really hard to understand, that everything is a domino effect from us.
Yeah.
So let me share with you something. This book here is the $1 Million Handshake. So it's gone around the world. And of course, we're not handshaking now. And a lot of the times in India, we have namaste.
Yeah.
We can touch our hearts. So that's great. But we will be going back to, in meetings and everything, once again, in a year's time, people want to connect with people again.
Yeah.
But in this book, there's only one chapter on that. It's about body language. It's about mindset. It's about behaviors. It's about connecting and communicating for win-win results. Now, in this book, there's a section on behaviors, your behavior. And I love this. And there's a quiz there. So I'm going to send it through to you, and you can send it through to any of your audience that might want it. They can do it on themselves. They can do it on their family. Because I've got a quote in here: what you believe, it doesn't make you a better person. The way you behave does. And I think that's so important, because what we believe isn't always right.
True.
But what everyone does see is our behavior. And our behavior is a reflection of what we're thinking. So we can say what we want, but our body language could be saying something different. So we've got a great little section here which will help you uncover the power of your strengths in your behavior, but also those areas that break down your communication. So I hope you enjoy that and also work on that with your family, because our behavior actually is what changes our outcomes.
Oh, I
So,
love that outfit. It looks
you
like
know,
this. Yeah.
Superwoman.
Yeah.
10 years ago, uh,
Mhm.
10 years ago, we lost nearly everything in the global financial crisis. And
True.
I had to start again. And understanding my behavior and creating win-wins very quickly allowed me to grow a business from scratch to over $1 million in contracts in my first year, and then take my business internationally by my fourth year. So the thing is, whatever you put your mind to, you can do.
Yes, you can.
But I couldn't allow anything negative to come in. I had to keep working in my positive to make things happen. And so if you find yourself getting down, write a list of things that aren't great, but then write a list of things that are great and make that list even bigger. Think of everything positive, any positive thought you can think of, or go and take that moment. Put your face in the sunshine wherever you can. Um, if it's having a cup of tea that makes you feel good, or calling your best friend, whatever it is, we need to find these little things that can pick us up too. But I want you to know that everything that you need to find those little moments of joy is within you. You've just got to make that choice, pull those shoulders back, put that smile on your face, and then let some positive thoughts come in as well. And it's not easy, and it's a difficult time with this COVID-19.
Mhm.
But I think our younger generation right now, you guys were made for this. You know how to use all this technology and jump on. You've been speaking to each other forever like this. You're great at watching movies and downloading what you need. So, use those skills and have a little bit of fun as well at this time too. Maybe help your parents. We've got power of 700,000 different movements. That's a lot of power, isn't it?
Oh, it's a lot of power.
It's
For
a
sure.
lot of power, but we don't always use it for good. So we really do want to use that power that we have for good.
I think few observations there, which I really, really liked was, many times it happens that a child, he's not a teenager, especially, he's not being defiant, but his body language reflects defiance. So the parents feel that my child is being defiant to me, whereas he is
Correct.
just being himself. And it makes so much of a difference. If a teenager can understand that my body language is reflecting this, he can always feel better and do
Yes.
better about that.
I believe that too, but I think the parents need to understand their body language as well, because
Yes,
the son might be reflecting their body language.
true.
However, I can't I can't make other people change. I can only choose mine. So if any of the teenagers are listening now and someone else doesn't have great body language in your place, the only thing you can control is yours. And when yours
Yes.
starts to change, theirs
Yeah,
might change too.
it reflects. And I think the other thing which is something I completely agree with and I completely coach on is the mindset. It's all about your mindset. You can program it the way you want to. It's a mind is a very humble servant. It's just about deciding who's on the driving seat. Is it you or is it the mind? So beautifully said that, and I love the presentation and that outfit, Catherine. All right. So, in the social media age today, somehow social skills have taken a backseat. So there is a lot of Facebook, but there is less FaceTime. There's a lot of Facebook, FaceTime, but there is less face to face. How can teenagers connect with new people by using their body language? How can they express that empathy and make that conversation?
Are you talking about online during COVID-19 or?
No, when we are off the COVID-19, the lockdown, it's about meeting
Okay,
real people. Because what happens
okay,
sometimes with teenagers, they often think that if I say this, what will the other person say? How do I make this person my friend? How do I have more friends in my
yeah,
life? So in
yeah.
that case, how do they strike that first conversation? Uh, especially
Yeah.
with respect to their body language? How should their body language be?
Look, this is really, really important. And I don't care whether you're 3 or you're 83. Our body language is really important when we connect. So everything we're talking about now, and we're saying, for teenagers, of course, this is for adults as well.
Sure.
Maintaining that little bit of space when we first meet someone, about 3 feet, we have that big smile, make great eye contact. It's really important because it shows your confidence. And a lot of people will actually employ you over someone else because you appear confident. So we had a junior position going. We had about 50 people apply. And my team were like, Kath, you've got to employ Charlene. She's fantastic. And I'm like, why? And they said, oh, because she's so confident. And I looked at them and I said to them, so why is she so confident? And then they had a giggle and they said, oh, she had a great handshake. So when she first came in and met them and she greeted them, they felt, because when you do handshake, you do have that great connection. They felt that she was really confident. And that would be awesome for our business because we get out to meet so many people. But I've heard a lot of people, at least 50% of people work on that gut feeling, the way that they feel about you. And that is why a lot of people get that job over that other person that might even have better results. But this person made them feel great. And so starting to really understand our body language and how powerful those 700,000 different movements are can make that massive difference.
Wow. Yeah. I completely relate to that. I think a handshake makes a lot of difference, how you're making that right. And the $1,000,000 handshake that you make.
The $1,000,000. Look, honestly, this is in India. You can buy
Yeah.
this, Kindle. It's online. You can hear it. I don't think it's very expensive, but it's got 6 online content in there too. So if
Wow.
your family bought this little book right now, you are going to start to communicate a lot better with each other. You'll have a lot more fun. You can build up some strong mindset techniques as well. And I wish that I had access to give this to everybody, but I haven't. But if you are wanting to make a bit of a difference, and say, for instance, you love body language, then go online and I've got a whole heap more content for you. Or if you want to know more about behaviors and how to create win-win results, then jump online. There's more information for you, more information on mindset, more information on connecting. And there's a couple of stories in this book from India, from the
Oh,
experiences that I had when I was there as well. And I also created the Conscious Connection Framework that's won Asia Pacific Awards. So it's got heaps of content that you can keep going with. So it's not just this much of a book, there's a lot more. And if you end up getting the book, it's nice and light for backpacks and all those sorts of things as well. So share it around, because I was just written to just a couple of days ago from someone saying, I went to one of your events, I got your book, I finally sat down and read it, and she said it's made such a difference for me. I'm taking it into all my staff. It got Business Book of the Year,
oh,
and the reason is when you use these tools, they make a difference.
they do.
And that's what it's all about. It's about making a difference in your life and creating more win-wins so that we don't get into arguments with other people, which is a really easy thing to do, isn't it? To get into an argument with somebody else.
Yeah, and I completely endorse that. It's an amazing book, and I've read it, and I recommend each one to read it. Are you
Yay!
trying to show us something here? Yeah.
Well, we have neurons that fire, that
Mm.
make us feel the exact same emotion as someone else. So if I yawned, what would you do?
I would probably yawn too.
Yawn. And if you smile, what will I do?
I'll smile back.
I'll smile back. So we've just got to remember that 1/25th of a second we react. Brain imaging technology shows us this, that we react in 1/25th of a second. And that's why we get all this miscommunication. I want to show you something. Can you hear this?
Can't hear, just see this. You can just see.
Okay, you can see it.
Yeah.
So this is interesting because this is put out by Coca-Cola. and one person starts to laugh, and then of course it starts to make everyone else start to laugh, because we transfer emotions. So if I was angry, I will transfer that emotion. If I'm happy, I'll transfer that emotion. So that's what we need to start to think about. What is that emotion I'm transferring today? Because people will forget what you said, and people will forget what you did, but people will never forget
How you make.
the way you make them feel. And that's what body language is all about. It's about the way that you make other people feel. And if you can remember that, that's where the change really does start to happen.
And I think in these days, this is very, very relevant because the more messages that are spreading, if you see on all platforms, some of them are increasing the anxiety of people because of the kind of energy you're sending through those messages. Whereas there are other messages which are coming, which are more positive, and they lead to a more positive outlook towards the whole situation. Because I think the current situation, there are some things that are in our control, some things are not in our control. And if we are constantly focusing on the part that's not in our control, that is reflecting in our emotion, that's reflecting in our body language, and that's also reflecting on people we're interacting with, may it be our children, may it be our parents. Yeah, I think this is very relevant in the present situation, what you've just mentioned. Beautiful.
And
Right.
I think we have to remember that. I think we've got to remember too, our parents are stressed right now. You know, where are we getting our money from? Where are we getting our food from? So there's a lot of extra, will there be a job to go back to? When will this end? So it's really important if we can take responsibility over ourselves, and if our teenagers have a smile on their face, oh my goodness, it makes such a difference to my day than having to pull them and drag them around as well as all the other things that I need to deal with. If we can all take responsibility and self-lead by that great body language and mindset, it can make a difference to not only yourself but your whole family and friends.
Yeah, that does. And I think the parents are so wonderful. So I keep getting these pictures from the teenagers at home, and they're doing some beautiful artwork. Somebody is practicing her singing skills and she's sending it across. And somebody is creating an online community to provide ration, to provide vegetables and groceries to the senior citizens who don't have any support or any help. So, it's so amazing to see the way teenagers are taking initiative and, going ahead with the whole thing.
That's fabulous.
Wow.
Just fabulous.
So one of the most common space where teenagers sometimes feel a little scared, it's the area of public speaking. So any tips out here? We both coming from the Speakers Institute family, so yes.
Fear. Face everything and rise. Don't let anything hold you back. You've got to believe in yourself. And if you've got a message or something you want to say, it's not about you. It's about getting it out there to the audience. Like today is not about me. I just want to share as much information that could change your time right now in COVID-19. And not only that, could change your life for the better once it's over. So, okay, so what's really important is when you do have a message, don't be afraid to share it. And the thing is, people want to listen to the young people today. If just imagine being a teenager sharing information like we're doing now to your own peers, what a difference that you can make right now. So if you've got something that's working for you or making you feel happy, then share it. And I think you guys are really awesome at sharing compared to the older age. We have to learn how to get out there and do it. You've been doing it.
Yeah.
So don't stop. Build that profile, share the information that you want to share with people your age as well, and help each other. And as a speaker, what we do on stage is different. So maybe after this, we might do a session. So if you are wanting to get up on stage, on what we can do for that. But right now, what's important is to make sure that people can see you. I have a messy background. Don't do what I do. Keep it nice and clear. Keep it nice and clean. But let people see you. Stay open. See how my arms are open. They're not going to be crossed off when I'm talking. I'm making sure that my eyes are looking at the webinar, but it's okay for me to take them away if I want to show you something and talk to you about something. Just treat our screens as that you're talking to a friend. That's it. You're just having a general conversation. It's not about you. It's about the information that you're sharing. Something very important if you're going for interviews or whenever you're talking to anyone or on webinars, even if your hair's in your face like mine, just leave it. Don't touch your face when you're talking. So after this, if you're going for job interviews, don't rub your neck when they ask you a question showing you've got a pain in your neck. Or I think this is the answer, because this is a bit of frustration. If you see someone selling you something and they say, you're going to love this item, it's really great, and they touch their nose, you kind of think, no, it's not. So body language is very subjective. It's never just the one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if that happens at a certain time, then you need to be aware and start to think, okay, if I'm doing that at this stage, what is it that I'm not comfortable with? What is it that I don't know? What do I need to do so I can make other people comfortable with it as well? So don't touch your face when you're in interviews. If you get asked a tricky question, you can say, that's a great question, and give yourself a moment so that you can answer. And it's always okay to say, let me find out and I can get back to you if you need to as well. Okay, but once you start to rub yourself, it shows you're uncomfortable and you start to lose that confidence.
Yeah, that's so amazing. I think one more thing I generally suggest teenagers is that whenever you have, especially when it's a non-lockdown period, when you have a public speaking thing to do and you have to go out and speak in front of people, before that, when you're doing it, just record what you've done so that you know what you're doing awesome and how you can be more awesome at. Because then they make their own changes rather than anybody else telling them. Great. I think that's a great tips we've got here. I really love the fact that you said not touching your face, because that is something that comes very naturally. And I think we've realized that more in the current times, that whenever we touch something, we first use our face, and we should not do that. So great inputs. Thank you so much. As you share that a teenage, we all know the teenager is opening up to a new world, new situations, hormonal changes, and so much more. Teen years are a time when teenagers undergo changes and transitions. In my upcoming book, Unjudge Your Teenager, I've emphasized on parents really getting into the world of teenager to really understand how to avoid judging them. So it's about stories, real stories of parents on the day-to-day things that happen at home, and from a teenager's perspective also, that what is he really thinking at the time. The idea is to bridge that communication gap so that the communication can be better. How can parents use body language to connect better with their teenagers? You mentioned a little bit in the beginning, but if you can share a little.
Oh, well, for the parents, it's quite simple. Stay open. Don't cross everything. Don't do the frowning. Don't put your head down when you're talking. Don't be so busy. If you ask a question, look at the child, have your smile, and wait for them to answer. I think as parents, we're very, very quick, and I do know a lot of Indian parents. You might be a little bit harder, perhaps, than some of the others. And what happens is it's ego. So-and-so's son's doing this, so-and-so's daughter's doing that, and then everyone's wanting their children to do it. We need to relax. Every single child is unique. Every single human being on this planet can't be replaced. There's only one of you. And I think as parents, we need to look at these beautiful children in front of us and just shower them with love and let their uniqueness come out, because everyone has a special gift, and sometimes it gets buried in amongst wanting your child to be this, or this, where in actual fact, they're that. And we just need to let them blossom. And I think we do that best through love and acceptance, and not worrying about our ego and wanting this and wanting that for our child. We had our chance. If we wanted that, we could have done it. So I don't believe in putting that on my children. So I have 3 very different children. My first son, he's a cardiac scientist over in UK, and he was a fantastic runner, sports person, all these things at school. I thought he was going to, and then he loved art. I thought he might have been an artist or an architect. So he found his own path, and this is what he loves, working with people's hearts to keep them alive. And then my second son, he was an Olympic swimmer, but not Olympic swimmer, but he was like the 3rd fastest in Australia. He didn't go to that next level because it wasn't what he wanted to do, traveling up and down a line in the pool. And he was a great footballer too. And so he started coaching children. Now he's gone on to teaching. But he's 25 and he hasn't finished his degree yet, because you have to go through different things in life to get to where it is you want to be. And, you know, even you as an adult, I'm 50 and I've had a lot of changes, and we keep on evolving and changing as we learn. I think that's the most important thing. And my daughter's done a double degree in outdoor education and high school teaching. So they've all sort of got their own path that they're on, and what they're wanting to do in life. And I didn't encourage any of them to have to be a cardiac scientist or to be a teacher or to be a coach or whatever it was. We just wanted to let them have as much love as possible and to find their strengths and what they'd like to do.
I mean, I love the way you said it, and the message is so amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine. If there's any last words you want to share with respect to the current pandemic and the anxiety in the minds of people, if you want to just share some last words, that would be really nice.
Last words, just find little moments of joy in each day. Be kind. Remember, your body language really does reflect the thoughts that are going on in your head, and you can change that, everyone, in a nanosecond. Let's do it right now. Shoulders back, eyes forward, big smile on our face. So great to meet you all.
Oh, thank you, Catherine. It was so awesome having you over.
Thank you, everybody.
Namaste. Stay awesome, stay safe, and stay home. Bye.
Stay awesome, stay safe, stay home. Speak soon. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.